Sometimes you have to break up with the tools that got you here to get to where you want to go. And today, I'm doing something I never thought I'd do. I'm breaking up with ActiveCampaign after 7 years together. Yeah, you heard that right, 7 years. And if you're curious to know why and what I'm doing instead, stick around. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Launch Lounge podcast. You know, I batch record these episodes, and so when I record a whole bunch of episodes and then 3 weeks go by where I don't record, when I come back to this mic, I feel like I've missed you. I feel like I'm sitting down with a friend and we haven't caught up for a while, and I need to tell you how cold it is in the morning when I'm swimming and how upset I am because now it's sweater weather, and how my oldest kid just turned 14 and I can't believe it, and where has the time gone? And you know, I want to sit down with a cuppa with you with a cuppa and catch up and see how you are. But of course, you're tuning in every Tuesday and every Thursday. So you're here. You're here, and I'm glad you're here. And if you want me to share with you how I managed to batch two episodes a week of the podcast, then just shoot me an email, podcast@thelaunchlounge.com, and I will share with you my strategy for how I batch content to keep me sane. Speaking of sanity, or maybe insanity, like the last month has been, it's been interesting with ActiveCampaign. So to give you a little bit of background, ActiveCampaign, well, I'm going to tell you the whole story, but ActiveCampaign is raising their prices on all of us, everyone who's with ActiveCampaign. And I'm just absolutely flabbergasted, just blown away by what they're doing. And I'm going to tell you my journey with them in the last month and the conversations I've had with them in the last month, and how at one point I was seriously thinking, I have to stay with ActiveCampaign. And then they made me so freaking mad that I am absolutely 100%, even if they cut my price in half, leaving this company because their values are horrendous. Their values are just terrible. Now, I also looked at some other platforms to move to and discovered some other platforms whose values are horrendous and who I will never, ever give $1 of my money to. But thankfully, I also discovered some that are wonderful, and as far as I can see, have great customer service and actually value the people that they bring on board. Now, I started my business, not this version of it. I became an entrepreneur officially on the 1st of July, 2014, 11 years ago. Almost 11 years ago. Feels like at the same time, it feels like yesterday, but it also feels like 100 years ago. At that point in time, I had a 3-year-old and I had a 8-month-old. And I knew that working full time and being a mom of a toddler and a baby is not going to cut it for me. I also knew that I really want to work and that I want to create freedom for myself. So way back in 2014, I signed up for tech stacks. You start building your tech stack. And initially, I used free stuff like MailChimp, and I plugged things together. Now, this is long before Zapier was a thing. Everything you needed something tech. You couldn't connect it. But over the years, I'm happy to say that I've kind of settled into my tech stack, and I haven't needed to make any big changes to my tech stack in a while until now. And what I want to talk to you about is, as your business grows, your tech stack is going to grow. But sometimes there are other reasons why you change your tech stack, not necessarily because you've grown. Because when I moved to ActiveCampaign, and I joined ActiveCampaign on the 24th of January, I looked this up, right? On the 24th of January, 2018, I joined ActiveCampaign, signed up to ActiveCampaign. And it's so cute, actually, looking at it now and seeing I signed up to ActiveCampaign and I bought their little baby level, which was for an email subscriber list of less than 1,000. And it cost me $29 a month. Now, I'm willing to bet you that $29 a month hurt back then. But by February 2020, I upgraded to the 2,500 contact plan. And that took me over the $100 mark quite significantly, from $29 a month to $125 a month. But my list was growing, right? And 2020 was a brilliant year for me. It was amazing to watch my list explode. And by April 2020, I moved to the 5,000 plus plan, which then cost me $169 per month. Now we're starting to talk about some money, $169 a month. And in July 2021, I became an adult in terms of list size, grew up a lot, and moved to the 10,000 plus list size bracket. And then I also moved to paying annually. Now, of course, paying annually saves you some money if you can do it. If you can fork out the annual cash, that's great. And that's what I did. So I paid $2,203. This is in 2021. And between 2022 and 2023, ActiveCampaign announced that they will be increasing their prices quite a bit. And this was really annoying to me. And I remember being in a mastermind at the time and all of my mastermind friends complaining about ActiveCampaign's price increase. And I looked at it and I saw, oh, wow, they will now be charging me $2,700. So we went from $200 to $2,700. Between 2022 and 2023, ActiveCampaign announced that they'll be increasing their prices by a fair bit. And I was in a mastermind at the time, and I remember how everyone was complaining about ActiveCampaign's price increase. And at the time, I didn't feel like I could really do anything about it. I was also juggling a lot of clients and a big team. And so I looked at it, I went, it's going from $2,200 to $2,700, which is a massive rise, but I don't have the mental capacity to even think about doing something about it, right? And so they've kept it at this $2,700 price for 2 billing cycles now. But then earlier in this year, I started noticing all sorts of gimmicks popping up in my ActiveCampaign account. They rolled out things like SMS marketing and WhatsApp marketing and pipelines and CRMs and all sorts of things that I don't use. And maybe I would use it if I had the time and the capacity to really understand how it can impact my business. But to be honest, if something's going to make such a massive impact in my business, I am probably likely to know about it and likely to use it already. Now, for CRMs, which is customer relationship management systems, which is really a fancy way to say sales system management, that works great for big B2B businesses. But for little B2Cs like us, we don't need big fancy CRM systems. We just need email marketing, and we just need email marketing to work well. And this SMS marketing and WhatsApp marketing that they introduced, that was introduced as add-ons as well. So I would have had to pay for those bells and whistles anyway. But then came the news, and I loved how they framed it, right? They framed it as, we've added all these new amazing features. And because we've added all these features, I now have to move into the plan that I'm on is being archived, and I am being moved into a plan that has all of these bells and whistles. And they told me that I'll be moved into a bracket, and my next bill will be, wait for it, more than $3,000. Now, I pay in Aussie dollars, so that's over 5,000 Aussie dollars. That is insane. It is priced so far out of range of their competitors that offer the same services and the same level of things that you can do with their automations, right? So I've spent the last few months really researching other tools that so that I can make an informed decision about what to do, because I didn't just want to knee jerk go ActiveCampaign or a bunch of jerks and I'm leaving them, because it's going to take a lot of work to move to something else. 8 years of data I've got in there. So, that's a lot of tags, and that's a lot of forms, and that's a lot of automations, right? But before I share with you about the other platforms that I then explored and what I did to figure out what's going to be my best next move, I have to share a little something personal with you as well. Since 2021, when it was all like just batshit crazy in my business, just exploded growing, massive growth, and just too much of everything, I've had 4, where are we now? 4 years of therapy, right? Back then, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I started getting perimenopause symptoms. So, I was angry. I was cranky. I was hormonal. I was emotional. I just found out I had ADHD. I also found out I had osteoporosis, just like a 60-year-old woman's disease. So, 2021 was not my finest moment. But since then, I have been on such a journey to simplify my business and to streamline my business and to clear out the clutter and to reduce the contact that I have to, the amount of contact people have with me. And I'm feeling way better now. I am better and my team is better and my systems are simpler. My team is smaller, but I can focus on quality over quantity. Nothing in my business is a hustle. Nothing keeps me up until midnight. It's kind of like that saying of don't let the good stand in the way of the great. I was looking at ActiveCampaign and going, well, if I just lie down and I take this, then maybe I am just, accepting the good in letting the good get in the way of the great. So I asked myself, what do I have to do if this is really serving me, and how do I want it? And would I explore ActiveCampaign as a tech solution so that I can almost have to resell myself on it if I'm going to keep it? But part of the emotional stuff that I learned is learning to be the number one most active participant in my own life. Because a lot of what I felt at the time was that I was just a passenger in my own life. I was being thrown around by different things, and it would often lead to learned helplessness, paralysis. Something like this ActiveCampaign would come my way, like it did in 2021, and I would just go, well, what can I do about it? Nothing I can do about it. So I just accept it. But I'm not doing that anymore. And now I actually, earlier last year, in October last year, I lost a very dear friend of mine. Was one of my closest friends since I was 10 years old. And he was the smartest person I've ever known, and the one person who lived his life completely on his own terms, like to the point where you think, like, where do you get the audacity? But he just lived his life completely on his own terms. And I remember thinking after he died that I would love to have a little bit of his attitude towards how malleable my own life is. Like, at one point I considered having the word malleable tattooed on my arm, just so that I can remember that I am always 100% in charge of everything in my life. I always have a choice. I am always in control. And I always have the ability to say, well, hang on a second, and then make a different choice. And so the ActiveCampaign that is sending me an email now telling me about this price increase is meeting a very different Salome than the ActiveCampaign that sent that email in 2021. So after going through this whole internal journey with all the stuff that where I am right now, and deciding to be the captain of my own ship and just living that way much more and saying no much more. I sat down and I went, well, hang on, no, I really do need to decide what I want to do with ActiveCampaign. And if it is keep them, then I keep them. If I need to look into some of these features and see if it's going to help me grow my business, and if then I feel like those features are worth what they're paying, then I would consider keeping them and let my bitterness about the way that they're treating us go, as long as I feel like there's value, right? So I looked at all the features that I use, and then I looked at all the features that they offer in the different levels, and if I can maybe downgrade to another level. But what I found was I'm unable to downgrade to another level because I have 2 users. I actually have 3 users in my account. And the account that is one level down from mine only has 1 user seat. So I can't downgrade. I can delete inactive users even more. I can delete anyone who hasn't opened an email in 90 days, and then I will be at a lower rate in terms of the number of subscribers that I have. But I still can't downgrade enough to the lower level of plan because then I'm going to lose those seats. And the other thing that I cannot afford to lose in terms of ActiveCampaign is the integration with Meta. My ActiveCampaign has to integrate with Meta. I have to know if people on my email list have seen my ads. I have to know if people who've seen my ads are integrated with email. I want to know that I'm building warm audiences and that those warm audiences are interacting with different platforms and different levels. So there's no way I can downgrade without losing those 2 things. Then I asked myself, is there something they're offering me that I'm paying someone else for already, that I can perhaps save some money by letting the other tech thing go and then using ActiveCampaign for whatever thing I'm using? And a brilliant thing happened when I did this is I discovered that no, there isn't something else that ActiveCampaign can replace, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I can consolidate and that I can replace with other single platforms. So I'm on this whole tech cleanup mission now and consolidating a whole bunch of tech platforms so that I have more programs that are, that meet different needs. So I will end up saving money. Even if I stay with ActiveCampaign, I'll end up saving money. So this exercise has already been worth it. But then I asked myself, if I absolutely had to move, which platform would I move to? And I'm going to keep this part brief. I spoke to HubSpot because HubSpot, in my mind, is really the gold standard, right? And to my surprise, HubSpot came to the party and I spoke to a salesperson. We had a wonderful conversation. They told me all the things I can get. Showed me the price on the website, and I said that's too much. And then they came back and they halved it, and they matched ActiveCampaign's price. And so here I was looking at HubSpot for 5,000 Aussie dollars and ActiveCampaign for 5,000 Aussie dollars, and HubSpot offers a hell of a lot of other things. But when I probed HubSpot a little bit more, there's limits on the number of emails you can send that I'm going to hit very quickly because I send 2 emails a week. And they said they'll guarantee me that price for 36 months. And when I said, well, what happens after the 36 months? She, of course, said, well, of course, we won't just increase your price, but come on. Am I stupid? I'm not stupid. 36 months down the track, HubSpot's going to tell me, you've done your trial period of this low price, and then they're just going to pull an ActiveCampaign on me, and they're going to increase their price. So I decided, no HubSpot. I also signed up for Go High Level, and I will just tell you, avoid, run for the hills, do not go there, don't give them your email address, you'll never come off of their list. It's a shitty system. Their own systems don't work, right? So just run as fast as you can. Don't even go there. And I looked at other things like Keep. Keep is great. Keep is a really good platform, but again, too expensive, priced way above ActiveCampaign even, but better than Active, has features that ActiveCampaign doesn't have. So actually deserves the price. Like I can see the price for Keep being good value. And then I looked at other things like Klaviyo, that people are recommending. And I just went, no, this is like MailChimp. Like they say they have automations, but what they have is not automations, right? So no Klaviyo for me. Where I landed was Kit. So I have done a thorough investigation of Kit, and I will say that Kit has a lot of the things that course creators need, a lot of the things that I need and that I use. Kit does not have the same advanced level automations that I use in ActiveCampaign. But I have decided to move to Kit anyway because of Zapier. I have a proper paid Zapier account, and I know that between my ability to build automations and my ability to use Zapier and my ability to think things through and map it out, I will be able to replace my more advanced automations with Kit and Zapier. So I'm going with Kit. The other thing that attracted me to Kit is that they offer a free migration service. Because I tell you, I was looking at my 758 tags and my 257 automations that I've got in there, and all of my lists and that history. I am so scared of what I'm going to lose because I don't know what I'm going to lose until I have already lost it the day I close that account. There's data on there. There's the form that have been collecting my 5-day video training opt-ins for the better part of 5 years sits on ActiveCampaign, and it shows me how many people have opted in for that lead magnet in all these years. There's value to that. There's value to that data. Even if it is just emotional value for me to look at it and go, wow, more than 10,000 people have taken my free training. That's pretty cool. And I wouldn't have known that if the form on ActiveCampaign didn't tell me that. So I know I'm going to lose stuff, and I know I'm just going to have to let it go. But at the end, I looked at Kit and I decided Kit is going to help me migrate. And that is incredibly valuable. And I think they help anyone with a list bigger than $5,000, 5,000 people. So I'm going to simplify. I'm going to use easier automations, simpler automations, and use Zapier. And maybe that's going to complicate it again, but who knows? I just don't want to be bullied by ActiveCampaign. So once I decided to move to Kit, and once I had that HubSpot quote as well, because I knew I could possibly tell ActiveCampaign that I've got this quote from HubSpot and maybe they'll bring down the price. I thought, well, let me just have a go and see what happens if I talk to ActiveCampaign. So I sent them an email and I said, look, I'm not super happy about the fact that this is the second massive price increase. Your justification for this is all these other bells and whistles, but none of these bells and whistles are things that I want, need, or asked for. And so I feel like maybe you're not quite listening to your customers, and by forcing us into these upgrades, it just feels off to me, and I want to have the opportunity to talk to someone about it. And they replied by sending me this beautiful email about how much they love listening to their customers, with a link to where I can book a call to one of their, customer listening specialists, right? And so this customer listening specialist shows up on the call, and she's dressed in her pajamas, I'm sure, and she's not on a desktop or anything. She's on a laptop or a iPad or something, a camera that she's basically holding on her lap that's moving around. So my first impression is this is quite unprofessional, but okay, I'm talking to them, they're talking to me. But as I'm explaining to her what my needs are and what my prices are, and she's telling me what she's hearing, Like, she's not listening. She's not even hearing what I'm saying. She doesn't understand the difference between US dollars and Aussie dollars. She doesn't know what HubSpot is. She doesn't understand what plan I'm on. Like, I'm just like, this is weird, really weird. But she tells me that she's going to take everything I said to her manager and they're going to see what they can do. And then she sends me a beautiful email that summarizes what we said. And she said she'll get back to me tomorrow, which is great. She comes back to me the next day with an email saying, making this big thing, like, they are so glad to offer me. I'm like, what are you offering me? Tell me what you're offering me. They are offering me the same price that they're moving me to. So they're not offering me any discount. They're offering me the same price, but they're willing to add in the CRM feature. They had already added that in. I was absolutely fuming. I was like, how are you kidding me? So I replied to them and I said, look, you didn't listen. You didn't meet me anywhere. You're still giving me stuff I don't want, that I don't need, and that I didn't ask for. And by the way, it's stuff that I would have had anyway with you moving me into this new plan, and you haven't discounted my price. And then she replied and she was like, oh, yeah, we're so sorry. We assumed you wanted that, given that you said that if there is a way you can use any of these other features, you'd be open to learning about it. I'm like, no, dude. Okay. So she says she'll come back to me again. Okay. So now I'm on like round number 4 of emails, like with ActiveCampaign. And this email, the next one, says, we have decided to offer you a modified version of the level that is lower, just lower, the downgraded level than the one that I have right now. Now, remember, I told you at the beginning of this podcast, I had already explored the lower level and it is not suitable for me because it only gives me one user and it does not integrate with Meta. So I know that level is not suitable for me. But the way that they frame it as they are giving me a modified version. And she says that they're giving me 10,000 seats or contacts in this modified version for me. And then I go to their website and I look at what is literally actually right now on their website that they're selling. Because I'm like, did I miss something here? Why are they pushing me to the lower level now? And I look at what they're offering me and I'm like, no, I'm still not getting what I want. They're basically just pushing me to the lower level and I'm going to lose stuff. But the way that they phrase it to sound like they're throwing in things that they're literally not throwing in because it's on their website just made me absolutely feel like these people do not give a second's care for their current customers. They don't care that I've been a customer since 2018. And so now I have had 4 interactions with ActiveCampaign. They have not listened. They have not cared about their existing customers. They do not try to help legacy customers. I am leaving ActiveCampaign because they are untrustworthy. They are sneaky and they have no regard for their relationships with existing customers. It will be a giant pain in my ass to move to Kit. But I am grateful that Kit is offering the service to help me. And I will learn to use Kit. And I am sure that they're not going to be perfect. But all they have to do is be more transparent, more trustworthy, and not increase their price by $1,000 on their existing customers every 2 years. Treat me with respect. And when you say you're going to listen, actually listen. There's a lesson in customer service for all of us here. Geez, I'm glad I'm getting that out of my system. Thanks for listening to that. You know what? Sometimes the bravest thing you can do in business is walk away from something that's comfortable. Yes, switching platforms is going to be a pain in the ass. And yes, it's going to take time and it's going to take energy that I could have spent on something better. But here's what I want you to remember. You are not held hostage by a tool, a platform, or a system ever. Life is malleable. Your business is malleable, and you are the only captain of your ship. And don't ever let good get in the way of great. If something isn't serving your business anymore, if you're being nickel and dimed, or if you're constantly working around limitations instead of working towards your goals, it's time to say, hell no. You deserve tools that grow with you and that value your relationship over a long period of time, not ones that holds you hostage and then threatens you with price increases every 2 years. So lean into these bold, brave choices like I'm trying to do. Trust your gut when it tells you something needs to change, and never, ever be afraid to demand better for your business or for your freedom empire. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and thank you for letting me get that off my chest. I do still feel there's a few colorfully worded emails in me that might still come out. There might be a few colorfully worded social media posts in me. If you can find the forum where people are bitching about ActiveCampaign, point it my way, I'll join it. No, I won't. I'll get it out of my system in the next 2 days and then I'll be done. I'll be back here on Thursday when I'm sharing my new friend Julie Cole from Mabel's Labels with you. And Julie is going to share how you can get the media to talk to you without doing PR. So be sure to be back here on Thursday. Bye. Before you go, if today's episode helped you, imagine how many more lives could be transformed if other creators, coaches, and experts found these strategies too. Your shares and reviews help more course creators discover how to get their knowledge out into the world. Please take a moment to rate the show and leave a quick review. When you do, we get to reach more people and we make a bigger impact together. Because when more people who help people succeed, the world becomes a better place. Thank you.